Bottom Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. What's going on, y'all? This is the Bottom of the Bottle Podcast. I am your host, Jay Walker III. That's my co-host over there, Carolina Dirt 803. What's happening with you, brother?
Ain't shit. Trying to maintain. You already know how our day was going. Just trying to maintain.
Indeed, man. It is Saturday, Saturday, January 8th, 2022, man. We trying to get this year off right and just have these discussions that we need to make things better. We welcome y'all. Tonya Love, she goes by T Love down at the bottom. How you doing this evening?
I'm fine. Yourself?
Doing very well. Glad to have you on our platform.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get into this thing, man. It's what we call our first call. You in the bar with some strangers. We're gonna ask some questions that don't have a right or wrong answer. Just how you feeling at the moment. So again, no right or wrong answer. What is or has been your favorite TV show all time?
Martin.
Okay.
Martin.
Indeed. Whitney Houston versus Mariah Carey.
Whitney Houston.
Okay. Your guilty pleasure snack. You cuddled up, ain't nobody bothering with you. What you eating on?
Butter pecan ice cream.
Woo.
Mixed with strawberry ice cream.
Okay. That's
You
fair.
gotta leave that bit of pecan by itself.
I might try it with the strawberry just cause. That's dope.
It's so good. Yes, it is. You get the fruit and the nuts together. I'm telling you, it's good.
Okay. Bigger fear. Large bodies of water or tight spaces?
Tight spaces.
Okay. And then my last one is my revisit. What car did you own or borrow in your lifetime that got you in the most trouble?
A Buick Skylark, 1991 Buick Skylark.
That sound like a trouble call.
I'm telling you. Okay, we ain't gonna get into what kind of trouble, but I appreciate the answer. That's my 5.
All right. Your favorite cereal of all time.
Don't laugh, but I like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, plain honey nut
I'm a
Cheerios.
Honey
Good
Nut
for
Cheerio
cholesterol.
fan.
Good for cholesterol.
They
Yes,
taste good.
yes,
They
they
just
do.
taste good.
hmm
Who
Right
you
out the
think?
box.
Who you think got the best French fries?
I like Chick-fil-A French fries. I like the waffle fries.
Yeah.
All right. If you were to roller skate, would you rather the Blaze, which is the one strip wheels, or the 4 wheels, the old school roller skate?
I gotta do the 4 wheels. I can't. I'm not good with my balance. I gotta go with 4 wheels.
All right, 4 wheels. Would you rather? Would you rather be on the ocean on a cruise ship, or like a little baby yacht?
On the ocean, on a cruise ship, or a baby yacht on a cruise ship.
Okay, cruise ship. That was number 4. And number 5, electric fireplace or wood fireplace?
A wooden fireplace.
All right, I ain't even get to pour my drink. That's first call. You went through quick.
I'm about to tell you, I'm drinking water tonight because we went in a little early doing some other stuff. So what's in my bottle this evening is going to be water, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this ice melt on this thing. I can't turn wine into water. But
That's funny.
Okay, T. So we put it kind of in your bio. You are author, a grief coach, a motivational speaker, an activist, singer-songwriter, your own CEO of your own nonprofit, which is No Weapon Shall Prosper. Can you give us a little bit of background first on No Weapon Shall Prosper?
Yeah, so No Weapon Shall Prosper is a nonprofit I dedicated to my son Prosper, who was shot and killed in 2014. And then it has like a twofold meeting. Also, when I was 17, I went into this church and I was prophesied to after trying to commit suicide when I was 8 months pregnant with my oldest son, Ezekiel. And I was invited to a church by someone that I met at a homeless shelter, a white girl. She invited me to a all black church. And I was surprised. Like I said, I just got out of the hospital trying to commit suicide. I was in there crying and whimpering to myself. And the preacher had pulled me out and prophesied that I would have a worldwide ministry, contrary to all the adversity that I had experienced in my life, which was like sexual assaults and molestation and rape and domestic violence and foster homes and all that good stuff. Well, not good stuff, but all that stuff.
all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
in that moment, that's kind of what brought you back and had you. Was it just as simple as that visit? Um, like, I guess tell us because there's a lot of people in the world that suffer from situations similar to that, and we want to be able to give them avenues on how they might be able to get out of that type of life
I mean, like
or
for me,
feeling
it
that
was
way.
right. Like for me, I remember, like I forgot to say, I tried to, well, I did say I tried to commit suicide. So I was very suicidal, depressed. Um, used to look at myself in the mirror, like look into my eyes, to my soul, and I didn't see anything there. I just didn't think that anybody loved me. I thought that I was supposed to be abused. So what got me out of it is my creator, it's God. Just having a real relationship with Him. When I say real relationship, I'm coming from a stepdad who was supposed to be a preacher who was the one trying to molest me. Coming from a
Mm,
mother who I loved dearly, who was, I was watching them both have affairs with each other, but we couldn't have TVs and we couldn't wear pants. It was so religious and legal with a lot of legalism and everything, but there was no, like, for me, a real relationship with God. So I hated Bible study, right? I'm like, I don't want
right.
to go to Bible study. I don't want to do all of this. But behind closed doors, you guys are beating the hell out of me. And we're fighting and all this type of stuff. So it took me to actually reach out to God for myself.
What what was the scripture, the story, the song, whatever that snapped into you that kickstarted your re-evaluating yourself?
That so when I had my son Prosper, my last child, and when God had told me like in a dream to name him Prosper, and which I did, but my husband was at the time he was all against it, right? He was like, "That's a dumb name. It's not really a name anyway. It's a adverb. I mean, it's a verb, right? You want to prosper in something. So me standing on God's word and just being faithful, I told him, I'm like, God told me it was going to be a boy. So when I went and had my sonogram and it was a boy, I'm like, okay, this proves to you that, God's telling me to name him Prosper. My son, after he was born, he almost died like a month after he was born of a respiratory infection. So I'm like, God, why would you tell me to name him Prosper? Then he almost dies. And that's when the pastor introduced the scripture to me and was telling me about the whole no weapon shall prosper and that I needed to start, praying that over my son. And as I started praying it over my son, I started delving into it myself. And um, like I said, my son's name was Prosper. He was 17 when he was murdered. And the verse is the 17th verse in the Bible. So I couldn't make that up if I wanted to.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
So
an amazing story.
right.
so as much as you want to tell of, your son's story, just tell us a little bit about him as he's growing up. What kind of kid is he?
He was my last child. It seemed like he should have been the first one. He was just a brilliant kid. He was always serious. Like it was hard to get him to smile and things like that. But um, one thing I remember, he was so good with directions. Like me being grown and stuff, I would have to get him in the car, and be like, Prosper, which way is this? Which way did I go? And he would remember directions so vividly, right? He would look at landmarks. It was one time in particular, he didn't like this lady who was keeping him babysitting while I was working. He was like 3 years old at the time, and he would see this certain landmark, and he was like, "I told you I don't want to go to the lady's house. I don't want to go to the lady's house." So he was just real good with landmarks and directions. He was like fearless. He would, before he could even walk, he would be crawling to the staircase, and almost about to jump down the stairs. We'd have to hurry up and grab him. He'd do the same thing with the bunk bed, about to jump off the bunk bed, couldn't even really walk and stuff. So he was a fearless person. He died, he jumped out of a car, even though they were doing the wrong thing. But he actually jumped out of a car trying to save his friend's life. And his friend was already shot and killed. And the other people in the car, they took off and they left him. But he jumped out of the car he was driving, and with shot with guns blazing or whatever. And I don't know, he tried to pull his friend to safety, not knowing he was dead. And then when his friends left him, then those people, yeah, they shot my son like 7 times, I think, seven. So,
Wow. Wow.
right.
Not to leave that one out. So tell us about your other son. We want to hear about both of them.
I have 3 sons.
Oh,
I have 3 sons. My oldest Ezekiel, that was the one I tried to commit suicide with. And then my other son, Nathaniel, that's who is doing the video for his
yeah,
brother. I don't know if you see, that's him
yeah.
that wrote the song for his brother. And but they all have the same gifts. Like we all write poetry, we write songs. So I'm blessed that they all have the same gifts.
That's that's remarkable. Even your son's act of bravery in that time, and not think about self-preservation, which most people do think about self-preservation. And I know I probably would have thought about self-preservation first before helping.
I
And for him
I
to
would
do
have
that,
too.
yeah, that speaks volume about his character. Even though he might not have picked the right choices, it just speaks right
Right.
about his character.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. And that's the way. I mean, when the other young man's mother called me and was like, "Your son died trying to save my son," I didn't feel like, I wasn't honored in that moment. I was pissed off. Like, why is your
Right.
son? Because my son was the youngest of them, and I'm like, why isn't anybody telling him, no, this is not what you're not supposed to be doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you take it behind the school and things like that. He was the youngest, but like I said, he had the mindset of a leader, and all these grown people were like following him and stuff. And I'm not trying to say that he was like the mastermind of anything, because he definitely wasn't, because he was not. He was. They called him the money man, right? Because ever since he was like 8 years old, the little boy knew how to hustle. Like he would sell waters. He would get me to buy waters and Gatorade, right? And I would go buy cases, and he would sell it to everybody, the drug dealers, old ladies just selling water. He was flipping water, and then I guess after they realized how much of a hustler he was, and he started getting into weed and I guess other things.
So, not to, we try not to keep it in a dark place, but this is a platform that we build on information. Besides the call that his friend's mother made, like, what was the story that you got back about this incident that affected your son?
You were break. You were breaking up. What you come again?
Okay, I'm sorry. So just like, what is the story that you received in regards to, besides the call from his friend's mother? What story did you
I mean,
receive
I didn't
about
get
that incident?
I didn't get a call. So, and when it came to his death, I didn't get a call. I actually had to do the calling, and then they met me somewhere face to face to you know to unfortunately give me the news that my son was no longer with me.
I know
Yes.
I mean,
that's
it was all over Jacksonville. Hmm?
yeah. I mean, I know that's even worse. You hear a lot of parents say like the way they found. Oh, she must have.
She'll pop back in here in just a moment. Yeah, we got to do something as far as reach out to these kids and let them understand that this is not a. I don't know if they think about it in terms of video games. I don't know if they think past, you know, them proving that they some kind of tough guy or something. But the gun violence in our community overall is so much, and it doesn't always make sense.
Yeah, I was saying, no parent wants to have to find out how their child was missing or murdered. They always want to find out what's the story behind it. So at that moment of you searching, how high was your positivity on it?
I mean, my son, okay, so let's go back. Like my oldest son, he went and got a tattoo of my name, Tanya, on across his neck. Then my middle son went and got one on his arm. Prosper went and got one huge on his chest.
Yeah.
And so when he didn't come home one night, with me, I used to drive the school bus, so I would have to get up before my kids in order to take other people's kids to school. So I would have to trust that my kids would get up and do the right thing as I trained them to do. But I would come home off my break and, I'll check their rooms, make sure they're gone. If not, then I would, take them to school and fuss and all that good stuff. So when my son, the middle one, was calling me, it's like Prosper didn't come home. And I'm like, okay, everybody's calling his phone. And Prosper's the type, like, he's going to keep calling me, wondering where I'm at. Like, Mom, where you at? What you doing? And who you with? And all this type of stuff. So, and he knows to answer the phone, right? So we're not getting, anything from his phone. He's not answering. So I called the police and I'm like, my son didn't come home. They're telling me that the whole thing is to wait 24 hours. But with me driving the school bus, I can't concentrate on driving. I can't see the roads. I can't. So I pulled up and like, look here, y'all got to come get the bus. I can't find my son, like, until that. So, called the police and I'm like, so what do I need to do? I'm like, cause I can't wait like 24 hours. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, and then they're saying that there's somebody it was a shooting and it's 3 people and you guys have yet to identify one of them. And I said, all I know is my son has has my name tattooed. He said, what's your name? I said, Tonya. He said, stay where you are. And when he said that, I knew. I'm like, I'm not staying here. I'll, meet you someplace. And one day meeting at my daughter's house. And when they got out that car with that envelope in their hand, I was just like, just don't say it. Just don't open it. Just don't say it. Please don't say nothing. Just don't say it. Because I kept feeling like if they don't say it, it wouldn't be true. And so he was like, I'm like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, And when he finally said it, I was like, oh my God, no, because I raised my kids in church. Like when they came to his funeral, a white pastor had his funeral because they were our neighbors at one point, and Prosper and them used to go to Bible studies. And so they go inside his funeral and to see him doing all these plays with, Caucasian people and things like that. Like people didn't know that this boy was in church. He was in PAL. He was in sports. Like I tried to do everything I could do. I had finally got us off of, like in the lower income area because I get kicked off of HUD when I was like 19, with Prosper. But I wound up having to go to like a low income apartment for a few years because another bad relationship, and that apartment is where he was introduced to all the drugs and all the stuff that would define him as a drug dealer and all this other stuff. So I would say, I don't know, I moved us out of there though, right? I moved us out again, bought a house on my own, no HUD, no anything, no Habitat, just bought a house on my own. Thought that I was doing good, moved them out the neighborhood. But it's so sad because it's like kids feel like they cannot go to this school or they can't go to that school because the neighborhoods are so divided. Mom, I know you like this house, but if we go to the school over there, we're gonna get jumped. We're gonna get, because it has these rules with the neighborhoods, which is so stupid to me. But I'm like, okay, I don't want my kids getting jumped. So of course, that's the schools that y'all are from. That's the friends that I know that, y'all will be protected there. And I'm still allowing them to go to school over there. And then look what happens, right? So.
How long does, the grief never goes away, obviously. It might get easier to contend with, but how long before your grief turn to action as far as the idea for your nonprofit and your mission with your nonprofit?
Boy, you thinking you drinking? Like, oh my God. Like when my son was so mad at God, like again, like I'm asking him again because he's not a baby, right? You know what I'm saying? And like, why would you tell me to name him Prosper? I felt like I was so tricked. Like I felt so deceived. And the man said I would write a book. I'm like, God, I ain't doing nothing for you. Like we good. Like, you can just go ahead and take me. I don't care about ministry. I don't care about being an example to anybody. Like my son is going. I kind of felt like the promise died with him, right? If he's going, then how can God, bring that into fruition? But I had to remember it was a time when me and Prosper, he was hanging out and I was on my way to church with my other kids. And he's like, where you going? On the way to church. Oh, shoot. He's 16. Come pick me up. Me and my friends, we want to go. We're going to roll up with you. Come get us. So we all in there sitting on each other's laps, go to church. And it's my three sons and Prosper's two friends. And this lady picked out Prosper out of all these boys. And she told him to stand next to me. And she said, this baby's so connected to your destiny. But she said, but God can't begin your ministry till he's finished with his. So I'm looking at Prosper and I'm like, I know that God's going to name him. I know he's connected. He's such a good steward of money, and he's such a hustler. I always thought that he was going to be the president of my organization. He was going to be, I never knew that God expected, would birth something out of something so horrible, but that's what God does, right? He makes beauty out of ashes.
So what did when you said when it happened, you were saying God take me. So did you feel were you being selfish and not thinking about your other sons as far as
Yeah,
that?
I guess I was, but when you're like, I felt like if I couldn't keep this one here, the one that God had said was unique and special, like, what could I do? I was thinking I was gonna mess with the other one's lives too, and I really wasn't thinking of. I was just so hurt. Like I tried to take my own life too. I was just so hurt about it's my baby, right? And you know, I don't even know how to put it into words the pain that I was feeling, especially like I said, with God telling me that this baby is going to be special and everything. Yeah, so. But yeah, I guess I was being selfish. They tell me that a lot, even with what I'm doing. They finally get it now.
So how do you? So how did your other sons take the news and their journey
Yeah.
getting through?
Right. So I guess it's every day for all of them. I mean, even my daughters, I have two daughters as well. So I have
Oh,
five kids in total, but it's just different for us. All the time, Prosper was the baby, and they just always remind me that, Mom, you did the right thing. There's nothing that you could have done. Like, you moved us out. You taught us about God. You can't blame yourself. God had us a purpose, and I have to call my kids sometimes to get prayer when I'm depressed and I'm like going in the bathroom and I'm crying behind, like right there by the toilet stool and everything on the floor. It's my kids that I have to reach out to. And I know that Prosper had that same relationship that my other kids do. Like, they might not be doing the right thing. They have all the tattoos and stuff, but I promise you, like, they're the best prayer warriors. They have the real relationship with God.
I mean, it's not, and that's another thing that messes up certain kids, and it's perception. Older people just look at them as a lost cause because of the ink, because of the lingo, because of the clothes. When a lot of these kids are just trying to fit in, they're finding themselves. We don't. Older people, I'm not gonna say 50s and 60s, just older people in general don't want to take the time out. You know, just time out for these kids. Like, I'm not gonna
Right.
do it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna do it to a stranger. But once I'm introduced and I can feel the vibe, I will start educating, passing info, passing knowledge if I can.
Right.
But a lot of times we just look off perception of the saggy pants, or, the females that don't have clothes on or have too much makeup on, and we don't really give them a chance to actually tell their story. We just
Right.
assume that they're at a broken home or nobody's taking care of them, so they don't want to take care of themselves. But a lot of these kids are just looking for validation.
you
Indeed.
know, it was, it was a beautiful thing that when my middle son, when they asked who wanted to speak, and he got up before anybody did, the one who did the song. And he got up and he said, like, my mama raised us in church, man. Like, we used to pray, you know what I'm saying? He's like, even a week before Prosper died, I called them into the living room. It's like, I want to pray with you guys. And usually when they were kids, you know how they are. They didn't want to hold each other's hands and all that, want to play around and laugh when you're praying. But like, Prosper took it serious. They both took it serious. He's like, I'll never forget that day, Mom. Like, me and Prosper, we wanted to pray with you. And he talked about that at my son's funeral. He said, don't judge the fact that we got tattoos, man. We know God. He said, I used to tell bro, he's like, bro, I used to be going, stressing and stuff. He's like, bro, you just gotta pray. He said, Prosper used to say, man, don't try me. I talk to God all the time. So,
Right.
like you said, their relationship with God we can't define it as our relationship. It has to be that one on one that they have for themselves. We can't judge them by their twist in their hair. We can't judge them, you know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of times we were doing. So, I just know, like, for a fact, Prosper told me one day, He said, "Ma, I gave my life to Christ." He's like, "I got saved, and I understand why you named me Prosper. Now, I didn't understand it before." He's like, "But my counselors explained it to me like you really believed in me." And he's like, "I used to hate that name, but now I'm gonna make sure that I make you proud." And he started changing like the last 7 months of his life. He used to be an introvert, like, but he started opening up to me, telling me he wanted to be emergency and telling me his dreams, telling me he was going to look out for me, telling me he always wanted to live with me, he was going to make me proud, and he wanted to make sure that my kids got themselves together and all this type of stuff. So, I mean, that was the thing that hurt it the most. But that's why I'm making my station worldwide, because I'm on that boat that he wanted to go in that merchant seaman thing, and I want to take him worldwide and make sure that he excels, he prospers in life. That's my job now. So he had my name on his chest. I went and put his name on my back because now I carry that burden on my back.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Absolutely.
That's what's up.
Absolutely. So, what is, if you have a particular mission statement, or if you want to talk about how people can reach out and contribute and look to help out your your nonprofit?
Think she lost a signal again. Oh, is she coming back? Yeah, she's her signal. Her signal's weak.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, beyond they only talk about these kids that are athletes and rappers and singers that are getting murdered, but there's a lot of kids that don't have a big story to tell that get murdered and killed and are afterthoughts. That gun violence is they're choosing gun violence over everything. They're trying to make friends, trying to be social media stars. They're trying to do everything that is not beneficial in the long run.
in the name of not being a soft ass
Uh,
or weak ass, you know what I'm saying? Well, we got to get to a point where it's not. It's not. I got to take this man's life. Like, the sad part is how trivial it is and the way that they responded. There's no guilt anymore. You got people
no,
doing songs about how they ended this man's life, or shot up the block, shot up the party. Like, I don't understand the self snitching part of it. I don't understand banging on your neighbors. A lot of times, like I say, ain't no such thing as black on black crime. You commit the crime that you can get to. You feel
yeah.
me?
I mean,
So these people live in the same neighborhoods and around the same people. You know what I'm saying? You grow up knowing the person that might be the one to take your life, and it's crazy.
and then the lack of what it's over. Like
Right.
how you gonna shoot or fight another man over your old lady, but you out here mess with other girls? You know what I'm saying? Like they're killing people over money, over street cred, over
Trivial
music,
reasons.
yeah, over materialistic stuff, and they're not taking the time
Over
to value life itself. Like you can't just say where you're gonna be in 10 years. Like they got the 10-year challenge. You didn't know you were gonna make it 10 years. But the younger you are, the more you believe you'll make it an extended period of time. But my favorite thing is Deion Cole says we only got so many summers, and everybody's
Right.
summer is not as long, and everybody's summer is not as far away. So they gotta take value in what it is. Like get a talent if you got it, not a talent. Get if you have a talent, embrace your talent. If you have a
yes,
skill, embrace your skill. But once again, I tell people, if you can sell dope on the street, you can sell a car to car lot. You can sell a business plan. You can be a corporate 500 company. You can have health insurance. There's all these other things that should be valued and should be taught that they're not taught. And some of that goes to the school system. We talk about the basic needs to get out of high school. That don't set you up for the future if you're not
yeah,
taught investing, if you're not taught how to grocery shop, how to pay your bills better, you
Balance your
know,
books.
balance your books. The fact that you about to go to college, but you owe 6 digits when you get out of college. Um, There's all these other things. If you don't have the proper insurance and you go to a D1 school, you get hurt, you might get a college degree, but that's it.
Yeah.
You got
Nobody
hurt, you
And I
still
didn't
would
get
give
add,
you
back.
the job.
Yeah,
I would add this as a female. I would add this because, like, if you're already broken, which I was broken already coming from the foster home system, and I should have gotten help before I even started having children because, I'm trying to say, all I did was like they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and I just brought dysfunction into my child's life. Like I birthed them into it because I was already a dysfunctional person. Then I met a dysfunctional person, and what can we create? Right? You know what I'm saying? So
More
I just feel as
dysfunction.
females, when we're supposed to use the system, to me, the welfare system should be as a ladder to climb on and not a bed to lie on. So for me, even though I had gotten off of it, like by the time I was 19 and stuff, I had to struggle. His dad wasn't paying child support and everything like that. I was a dental assistant. I did everything that I could do to make sure that my kids had a roof over their head and, clothes on their back and things like that. But still, the absentee of a father that made it the worst. And then me getting into all these broken relationships, going through one person that's battering me, another person that's cheating on me, and all this type of stuff that your kids feel the stress of that.
yeah.
Indeed.
And I know it weighs you down mentally as a parent because you still got to deal with feeding them, going to work and those other stuff. And you're just dating some of these men that's hazardous to you already, and you're just taking that, and bringing it into your home. And I know that's tough.
Yeah, because
It's
as females, you be thinking, what, a piece of a man is better than no man at all.
Yeah,
At least he's here, and you put up with their stuff, not realizing that whether he's your child's, you know, biological father or not, he's the influence on your child. This is who your child is going to mock behind. If your child see he's beating you behind and stuff like that, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to beat their women, but he's going to want to try to fight this guy for fighting you, and that's
yeah,
where the violence and stuff comes in. So it's like as women, like you know, that's why I compelled myself to do better, even though I had already moved out of off the projects and all that good stuff, and it's still. But my son went back to what he knew. Like
right.
if he had never been introduced to that, he wouldn't have felt comfortable with it, right? So he went back to those people, those street guys, thinking, "Hey, these are like the best father figure that I could have right now."
yeah. But you do got some of these kids that are in good neighborhoods that try to find their way into the hood just for clout, just to say they've
Yes.
been there.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
So what I was asking, and then we kind of broke up, was like, if you have a particular mission statement for your nonprofit, how can people help you? Where can they donate? How can they support you with it?
Right. So I do. I have a website. It's N as in Nancy, W. Well, no weapon shall prosper. Then no weapon shall prosper. Jax.org. And that's Jax short for Jacksonville. So it's NWSP Jax JAX.org.
that's dope. So I did want to get into this because when me and you were messaging back and forth, and you told me the story about the music and how you're fighting for that. Can you briefly describe or tell about the music and the reason why you're fighting for what you're fighting for?
Oh yes, I mean there's like people like my son is famous in places I don't even know people and stuff, and then some people they're writing good things about him, which I applaud. But then there's others who didn't even know my son, and they're writing, they're going just back and forth with not just with my son, but just with murders that have happened. I know they're doing like the whole Chicago thing. I think I learned it's called
Yeah,
drill videos and drill music and things like that. So it's just back and forth. And like I said, it's so painful to hear somebody or watch somebody go on TikTok and there's a song, Prosper died and this one was murdered, and then people are jamming to it, right? People are sitting up there and they're playing it, making all kind of videos and things. But this Prosper's a real person. His mother's a real person. So you jam into the fact that my son is deceased is just ignorant and asinine to me.
yeah. I looked it up because I've seen it going
And then,
on.
like I said, then it goes to the next, prosperous friends, and they feel some type of way, so they answer you, and it's all the music and murders, right?
Yeah, I was like I said, I was when me and you were going back and forth talking about setting this up, and you told me the song. So the rapper is Young Fulio, and the song is Back in Blood. And on one YouTube link I've seen, he's got like 3 million views. So not only are they bragging about the situation and talking about the situation. They're actually making money off the fact of the destruction they've caused you personally, your family, your friends, and the
Right.
lack of knowledge of the people listening to it that's broadcasted on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I just don't believe that people are actually taking the time. History is becoming a lost art. Also, we're not taking the
Was there
time to learn.
anybody? Was there anybody arrested at all for what happened with their son?
Yeah,
We kind of lost her again. Yeah, I was. It's just it's strange that that she knows what happened. I'm curious if anybody was made to pay the consequence for their action. You feel me?
yeah. No, I totally feel you on that. It's like, and like you said, like you're hearing it all the time, every day. Like if you haven't got your justice or your just due or your attempt, that's hurting even more and more
Right.
psychologically damaging because it hurts. But if somebody got arrested or you know took the blame for it, accepted the blame for it, you can get through a little better than they're making money and they're free or
Yeah,
they
I
know who
just
did it.
like you got 3 million views on a video of you telling that you murdered somebody. Like I don't see how that's right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if he admitted to murder, but he talked about the murder as if he knew about it. So either or, it's all the same.
I mean, it's
Guilty by
worse if you did the murder and you did the song. That's whack as fuck. And if you didn't do the murder and you still dragging somebody, that's super whack.
that's super whack. Um, there she
I
goes.
would I would say I keep breaking up. I would say because I don't know Julio, I don't know that young man, or
Yeah,
whatever, and that young man doesn't know me, so I don't have any. I don't have. I can't fight against ignorance, right? The only thing I could do is to educate Julio, and just to let him know that he's just being used as a weapon. But the weapon that he is, it still won't prosper against me, and so that's why I called it "No weapon shall prosper." So um, but I would invite him to educate himself and to not be because he doesn't even know that he's a pawn in this whole agenda himself, and it's just for black men to destroy other black people, and it's a sad agenda. And when he starts, getting to the point of when he's wanting to have children of his own and have a life of his own, he'll look back and he'll see his mistakes and stuff now. But you know, all I would pray is for him to become educated because you don't even know my son, like for real. You don't even know his whole story. I would invite you to learn of my son, and but it goes back and forth because people are talking about his deceased family members too. So I can't sit up here and say that his family is better or worse than my child or somebody else's child. All of our mothers, all of us as mothers need to stand up and say, okay, we're tired of all of it.
yeah,
Right.
I agree. I agree. And other things that you don't see as much as us growing up, like other nonprofit organizations and other clubs and societies coming together. Like, we used to play on the Boy Scouts, but you don't hear people talking about that no more. You
No,
don't hear people talking about, yeah, I took my kids to karate, or we did this with the community. And until the community comes together, a lot of these kids are going to be lost. A lot of these adults are going to continue to be lost, and they're going to teach people how to be lost or how to put their energy in something destructive. Because even with the music, the older people are talking about destruction just as much as the younger people, and they're just following suit. But the way it is, times change where stuff is happening faster.
yeah,
These kids have no idea what's coming. They think they do. You're not invincible.
exactly. I'll tell you a story. Like, I used to go and speak to the children through the Department of Juvenile Justice. And I would talk to these kids and they would wind up inboxing me like Miss Tonya. They would tell me their grades and because they need somebody to tell them to be hardcore with them and let them know the truth. And I let them know like when my son got in trouble, y'all wasn't standing with him in the courtroom. And when he died and had to stand before God, y'all are not there. I'm like, so when you And one of the things I used to ask them was, who created the heavens and the earth? Not you, says God. So if God created it, why the hell are you dying for it? Like, you cannot take all these different neighborhoods. You can't take none of them with you. You can't take this woman with you. You can't take this money with you. Like, the only thing you could take, what I'm trying to say, is yourself. And that's it. And once they really hear that, and I let them know that these older guys are getting you guys and they're recruiting you for a couple $100. They're recruiting you because you want to make your name. I was like, but guess what? They're living their lives. They're only going to say rest in peace, prosper for so long before it starts where you're going to, do your own life and everything, where your life continues to go on. It's only going to be so much loyalty. I let them know that.
Right.
I once again, I just don't. I just think we got to put more effort into these young kids, but they also got to meet us halfway, or they got to make an attempt because as us being adults, we got work and everything else. We only give somebody so much attention because we know we have our own lives to live, but we also do have to try a little harder in touching these kids.
I would say the first thing,
It's
I'm sorry, the first thing is, let's take these videos down. Like, let's stop giving them the microphone and amplifying violence. That's the first thing. Because at least if you're not sitting up there and hearing the threats and, all of this type of stuff, I believe that's a big step in it. But we'll
right.
also know that everything is an agenda.
No, I
That's
And
agree.
that's what I was gonna say. Like it does begin at home. They say hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if a kid is going home. Like, he might look like $1 million in the street and everything is everything, and he going home to a house that don't have no power, no running water, no. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I see about this generation that I think will help is they are a little bit more open. Like, they are willing to tell people how they feel about certain things. And we need to do more social services. I don't think the government wants to do that, but it's the same reason that they send police to answer calls that are definitely mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? Why are you sending a gun to a situation that doesn't require a gun? You feel
that.
me? So we want to do our best to make things like no weapon shall prosper a big thing, because we do need those social services. We do need groups and supporters for people that come from broken homes and things like that. So that's one of the big reasons why it was a great idea to have you on.
Yeah, we are fully behind in support being constructive and
Yeah.
taking the time with the kids because we've all been kids before. I think everybody has been damaged. It's just some people hold it longer, or some people don't know how to ask for help. I know I'm probably damaged on the inside, but as you say, you take it one day at a time. But these kids just think they got a lot of time. Like you said, you got to stand before Judgment Day. Regardless of who you believe in, you got to stand before Judgment Day. So we just need to. I, I don't know. We just got to take more effort into them, I guess.
I think we need to get rid of the politics of it and just get down to the action, right? Because it's just so
Right.
many people. Like, I go to these organizations and these meetings, and like I sometimes they hate for me to show up because I'm gonna be outspoken and I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm not gonna sit up there and lie. We can't lie about the numbers. We can't lie about what's going on. Like, the truth is the truth, and like, what is really being done about it? Like, how are we really curbing the violence? That's my whole thing. And so, like I said, I got out of the neighborhood, and my son had it. He was spoiled. So it wasn't the fact that lights wasn't on and none of that stuff, but it's the fact that you have loyalty to people, that you feel like you're supposed to be loyal to these people, that, I don't know, it
Don't
costs you your life,
necessarily
man.
mean you any good.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're loyal to the wrong things. But you're loyal to people before you're even loyal to your own self and what you want to do and stuff. And the thing about it is, they say Prosper didn't want to go. That he was texting his girlfriend saying, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They just asking me to drive or whatever, but I don't want to do this." Um, he had told his counselor, and she came over to the house, and it's my son. Like I told you, he was introvert. I never seen him cry before. Like, as a baby, of course, he was a crybaby, he was spoiled, whatever. But as he got older, I didn't really see him crying. And she came, and he was like, "I want to do the emergency program." Like he was selling weed and everything, but he had $3,000 saved up to go to the merchant saving program. So he wasn't selling weed to be flashy. He wasn't selling weed like he had a goal in mind. And he
He
knew
was
that
trying to
mama
go.
can't afford it. He was trying to, yeah, and this is the only way he knew out. And so he showed her the application, and he's like, I just want to go to merchant saving school. I already got the money. I didn't know he had $3,000. He was like, I already got the money. I'm saving up for it and everything. And she was like, we'll have to see with the judge. And he started crying. He started wiping his eyes, and I'm looking from the corner of my eyes. And then I'm like, Prosper. He ran into his room, which is right off the living room, and he's in there boo-hoo crying. And I'm like, look, like you ain't gotta cry, whatever it is. He's like, you act like you want something to happen to me, is what he told the lady. He's like, if I don't go, I know something gonna happen to me. And he was dead like in the next, few weeks or whatever. And that's what scares me, because a lot of people, they don't want to be in that group. Like
Right.
he told the lady, like, I know these ain't my real friends. I know that. Like he already knew it, but he felt like I have to do what I gotta do because hell, my daddy's not paying child support. My mom was working from sun up, driving the bus and then doing after school activities and whatever else, coming home late just to pay a regular mortgage, like no HUD or whatever, and just to pay a regular mortgage. And I had just bought a car, and to be able to do that, you know what I'm saying? So that I could keep them in a nice neighborhood. And I remember before he died, he's like, I'm proud of you. Like you did that. I'm proud of you as a mother, that everything that I've come, all the adversities that I had in my life, he felt like I finally made it. I had a decent home that was mine. I bought it by myself. Nobody else is on the deed besides me. So, I made him proud. Thank you. I made him proud doing that and stuff. So, um, yeah, for him to let me know, like, yeah, you did that. Like, you made me really proud. But that loyalty to them people, that loyalty to them friends, or you think those are your friends, that loyalty, that'll get you every time. Like you said, people be in nice neighborhoods and leave that nice neighborhood to go hang out because those are
To
their
go do
people.
some,
So
yeah, to go do some over. It's it's a
I mean,
story that's gonna go on for time after time after time. But I feel like it's up to us to provide more opportunity, provide better educations, be able to get these kids some support. Like nowadays, if you're not an athlete, you got to get off the school grounds. Like you got to go. You can't just
yeah,
be in the library. So we got to find safe places for these kids to be, and more resources for them to do things that are positive.
let's get the conscious music back. Like, let's get the music back. Let's challenge them to, like, we want you to express your feelings. I believe in freedom of speech. I'm an author and a writer myself. So I want you to express your feelings, but you ain't got to be just in the next express how you feel and stuff. I mean, talk about the real enemy, which who is really trying to hold you down. Because we all been in slavery together. Why are we fighting each other? I let these kids know that. Like, I remember my car got broke into one time. I was living out there in the low income housing. Man, I went off. I'm like, how the hell y'all breaking my car? I live out here with y'all. If you're gonna break in somebody's car, you go out there, you go outside the neighborhood. So why are we killing each other? And you talk about, oh, across the tracks, now I'm in a different neighborhood. That's stupid. I'm like, y'all are
Right.
dying over slum neighborhoods. Y'all are dying over, raggedy behind houses. Y'all are dying over impoverished things, right? It's not even Lexuses. Y'all are killing. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Like y'all are killing each other in neighborhoods that have mostly bars and drunk prostitutes and things like that, but still and yet y'all are dying for this.
but they say ain't nobody gonna mess with them. But you won't take that shit across the tracks. That's the crazy. Like you won't take that same energy until into the highly financial areas, should I say,
Right.
into the
Right.
people of lighter color. You won't take that same energy into the suburbs, but you do it to your own people.
To your own people. And that's the sad part. We don't want you doing it to anybody, but how can you do
Yeah,
it and you look me in my face the next day?
the
You
next
break in
day.
my car and look me in my doggone face. Like, that's crazy. And ask me for toilet paper. Ask me for a cup of water, but you done broke in my car. Like, no. You know what I'm saying? So I let them know, like, y'all need to find out who the real enemy is, because the people your color, the people in your neighborhood, the people across the tracks, the people that we're not your enemy. And fully, I'm not your enemy. Prosper's not your enemy. You need to find out who your real enemy is. And that is the people that are suppressing you. That's the people that's making you feel like it's fly to sit up there and talk about killing each other. That is the people that is your real enemy, the people who have written an agenda to destroy the black community.
Yeah, you find your enemy, the person that's fighting the scratcher just like you are. Crabs in a pot. Like I'm scratching, I know exactly what you're going through, but yet, you know, you don't see it as that. You see me trying to up you one or up one on you or something.
Right.
Well, we're gonna go into this last call. This last call is just a moment for you to provide your message, let people know where they can find you, what your social media is, you know, just what your motivational saying is, anything that you want to tell the people. So, T Love, the floor is yours.
So I want to tell people that it does not matter what adversity that has come upon you in life, that it does not have to prosper against you. And that's why the Bible says the weapons will form, but they don't have to prosper. You don't, just because your mom was a drug addict doesn't mean you have to be a drug addict. Just because your dad was an alcoholic doesn't mean you have to be an alcoholic. Just because you were born in poverty doesn't not mean that has to define you. I am a living testament, right? Like to let you know that you can do anything that you want to do. I've written a book. I started a nonprofit organization. This you're talking to a woman that with 5 children. You're talking to a woman who was battered and bruised. A woman who grew up in foster homes. You're talking to a woman who thought that poverty was going to be her legacy. And I changed my mindset one day, and I realized I don't want to be a victim. I want to be victorious. I picked myself up, and I wiped myself off, and I realized I'm a queen underneath all of this dirt. I'm a queen underneath all this abuse. I'm a queen underneath everything that life has thrown to me. And you, gentlemen, are kings, and you, ladies, are queens. You just have to dust off yourself, and you'll see the real gem that's underneath all of that hurt and all of that dirt and everything that you've gone through. There's still a gem there. You just have to wipe it off so that it can shine.
Indeed. Indeed. Carolina, what you got?
Starts with the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. It don't matter how old you are, but it does start there because you know your real story. And until you can say, I know my real story and I know where I'm going, it's hard for other people to help. Because if you're lost, it's hard for them to show you direction. They're just going to show you options, but it's hard for them to show you direction because you're not being real with the situation and saying, I need help. Um, take time to appreciate people. You know, if you can appreciate somebody, you might help their day. That might be the mental support they need by just knowing that other people appreciate them. You know, let people know that you see them. You know, a lot of people always say, I feel like, you know, people don't see me, people don't hear me. And people do, we just don't acknowledge it. You know, we don't tell people we love them unless they're family. We don't tell people you did a good job unless we directly know them. But there's people out here that's moving this world that are just regular folk. They don't have no they're not CEO title, they're not the best athlete, they're not Elon Musk, they're regular everyday people that's moving this world and transferring this world and actually keeping this world above water. You know, everybody wants to be destructive instead of constructive, but it's regular people that are constructive because we know what we need. Just start with the man or woman in the mirror.
Indeed, man. Look, this has been the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. My final call is the same energy it takes to to hate on somebody. You could do so much more with that in a positive way. You feel me? Don't mess yourself up. Don't chase behind people. Don't defend people and have loyalty for people that don't have any for you. And it's generally easy to see if somebody is on your team. If the only thing that they champion and you are the fucked up things that you do, maybe that's not your friend. And environments are they are difficult to break, but they are environments, so you could move to another environment. See the value in yourself, look at people for who they are and what they doing in your life, and make a decision to do something better. That's all I got, man. This has been the Bottom of the Bottle podcast.
Can
Tanya,
I
hold
can I
tight. Oh
can I
yeah, go for
interject
it.
one more time? One more time. I'm sorry. I will have
No
to say
worries.
that I'm blessed to be partnering with ex NFL player Latarence Dunbar. We're trying to do, he is as passionate, if not more so, about the gun violence in the community. He has a nonprofit that is partnering with my nonprofit, City Crime Watch of America, and we're giving out scholarships to kids that are impoverished and cannot afford to pay for scholarship fees to let them play in the community sports. They can find the information at ledsports.org. It's ledsports.org.
Absolutely. We going like I said, when we sign off, I don't want you to go nowhere because we're gonna see what we can do to help, kind of blast that information out and get it to the masses. But we thank y'all for tuning in and watching with us, man. If you're watching it for the first time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Check us out. Email us at the bottom of the bottle at gmail.com. But this has been a fantastic show. I appreciate you, Tonya T Love, and everybody just be easy, man. It's all right to love somebody, man. Go kiss somebody. Go hug somebody. We gone.